We're here at the Midwest LSA Expo 2020, one of the only air shows this year, and most of us are delighted to be here, including this gentleman right here. I'm Dan Johnson talking to Larry Mednick of Evolution Trikes. You're the maker of this trike, the Rev X. Or this is a Rev, I guess.
This is a Rev Ultralight, yep.
And so you're going to tell me about all of them, but then I want you to lead into how you're doing this year, because you gave me some pretty nice reports that I wanted to hear more about. Yeah. Take it away, Larry.
Well, at the flight briefing this morning, the big joke was this is the biggest air show of the year, bigger than Oshkosh 2020, so glad to be here. And we brought our Rev Ultralight here to the show. We just brought the one model, but we have a whole lineup of aircraft. But this is our Part 103 Ultralight. And our claim to fame is this converts ready to go in the trailer in 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Yep.
And with your handy little carriage out here and everything?
Yep, absolutely.
Can one person do that?
One person can do it. And we've got quite a few people actually doing that and traveling the country. We've got some videos on our YouTube channel kind of showing a couple of the guys that do it. One of the fellas is 76 years old. And he says he doesn't count the airports he goes to anymore. He counts the states.
That's great. That's great. So run through the line for me briefly, starting with this one now. And this is a Polini-powered, single-place, Part 103,
yes,
legal or eligible aircraft. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay,
take it from this one. Describe this a little bit, and then walk me through each of the lines with a brief description.
Yeah. So you described it very well. It's a 40-mile-an-hour flying aircraft. It has no front strut. It's a full suspension machine. It has that foldability that we talked about. And the little Polini motor is just, I've been telling people all day, it honestly runs as smooth as our 912 powered Trikes do. So an amazing little power plant, does really well. It's a little bit larger wing, so it's a little bit more of a wind-limited machine. I think we're going to go take it up in just a little bit. So we are mid-afternoon, but it's a nice day, and it'll fly nicely in this. But typically it's a morning and evening machine. And then we build this as a the Rev X, which uses the legendary 582 Rotax motor. It's been around longer than I've been in the industry. 65 horsepower, smaller wing, and of course that can fly all day long. I've had it up in around 20 plus, maybe 30 mile an hour winds. It's very, very manageable for an experienced pilot. And less experienced pilots, I think, will be very comfortable in it in 15 mile an hour wind, maybe 20.
Which is plenty. For most people, that's
midday,
all they want to fly in anyway.
Yeah, something you don't have to put away at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we've got our two-seat model, which is the Revolt, which is more of the tube trike, bigger tires, available with the 65 all the way up to 112 horsepower. And so that's the big bore kit that we add to the 912 series. It's unbelievable power for that machine. We have a multitude of wings flying anywhere from 40 miles an hour all the way up to 80, depending on what your goal is, different windshield packages. And then we have our original, the Revo, which is our carbon fiber, fully faired, engine enclosed trike capable of 100-mile-per-hour cruise. And you get all the goodies, synthetic vision and roll trim and speed trim, and so that's our lineup.
I guess we could call that the Ferrari of your lineup, huh?
Yep, for sure.
It's a gorgeous piece of work. They're all very nice looking in their own ways, and you've got lots of little detail I pointed out in previous videos. The Revo, of course, has every bell and whistle you can think of. But I'm looking at this and thinking of all the people that like to come to my website. This is a relatively inexpensive aircraft. It's simple. It's Part 103, no pilot's license, and all the rest of that stuff. Of course, you're going to demand that they know something about it before you sell it to them, but it doesn't require all of that stuff from you. Yeah. So how's that been going this year, 2020, an otherwise incredibly awful year?
I did a little count, and what I did was I just started looking at our file folders. Of course, we have a file on every aircraft that we build, and we have a big Revo filing cabinet that's filled up. And then we started to fill up the other filing cabinet with our tube trike. So that's Rev X, and Revolts. And we have officially built more Rev X's and Revolts than we have ever built Revos.
Wow.
And the
earliest of those three that you just mentioned, 3 years ago?
So
did the first of those come
we're talking 2009 is when we started building Revos.
So that's 11 years.
And the Revolt, for example, has only been out for a couple of years now. And the Rev's been out for 4 years. In fact, this is a 2016 Rev.
This one is?
This one's being delivered to Libertyville.
Wow.
And that's why it made the trip up here.
Looks
and,
brand new to me.
Yeah, it is. This is now the third owner that's taking
right?
possession of this. Yeah, a lot of the guys are moving up to the Rev X's. That seems to be a natural stepping stone. They love their Rev, but they don't want to put it away at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and now we have a great option for them.
Cool, cool. Well, that's so. I'm sure that's gratifying for you that these relatively new models, which you're a little bit like Tesla. They came out with their Roadster first, and then they went back to a sedan. And I'm sure some people went, "Well, you had a sports car. Why would you go to a sedan next?" Well, there's a lot of market there, so I understand why they did that. But you kind of did it sort of the opposite way. You came out with the Ferrari first, and then went, "There's more to be explored here."
Yeah, for sure. I gotta say though, and I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's going on this year, but the phone has not stopped ringing about these things, and we are on certainly a record-breaking year, to say the least.
Beautiful.
The Rev sales, the Revolt sales, we are now sold out. We're not delivering. The sales that are in, the new sales will not come this year even. We're delivering into 2021. We're doing a pretty good job. We're about 4.5, 5 months out right now, which is the longest we've ever been out. We just have that many in the pipeline right now, and that is because the sales they haven't stopped. I think in March, when the big lockdown came, I think everybody went home and must have watched YouTube and rethought their lives and then called us, because a lot of people saw the videos, saw your videos, our videos, and decided they wanted to do this. So that's my guess, but we've experienced about 3 times as many sales this year.
3 times?
As certainly more than 3 times of what we did last year, and double our best year since we've been doing business in the last decade.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, Larry and Amy, and the whole. You all got a gang of people working with you. Some part-time, some full-time, and various dealers and other people I know. So it's a group of you, but you're the leader of the parade, and that's so gratifying for me to hear that these aircraft are doing well, and single-seaters are doing well.
Yep. In fact, we have one of our single-seaters. Our Rev X is at the largest PPG fly-in that's coming up this month, and that is a flight school now that's getting into our products that has been very successful in the PPG world. So hopefully, again, thinking about stepping up, getting a little bit more capability, see how the PPG guys like it. So we've got a lot of new dealers, and we thank you guys that have come on board and started to promote. We've had a couple of our dealers have retired. And we're still hanging on to Paul Hamilton. Don't go anywhere yet, buddy. But we've got a lot of fresh blood coming into the industry. I've never seen so many people under the age of 50 getting into flying trikes, and we're seeing a lot of the younger buyers in the 30s and 40s getting into it.
Is that right?
And that's really encouraging. And I don't know what's going on. I think it's a resurgence of the trike flying. There's a strong interest. Maybe it's the models, maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but we're seeing a lot of interest all of a sudden, and we're enjoying it.
Well, I love, there's 3 parts of that story I love. Single-seaters are doing well. You're selling a lot of aircraft, but there's a lot of younger players coming into the game. There's a lot of us older guys think there's nobody coming in the pipeline. That's simply not true. I've done some stats about that, but you're proof of that now, not just stats.
Yeah, and the single-seaters are doing so well that we have a new model coming out, and I don't want to oversell this because it is going to be based off of a Rev X, and let me just spill the beans. We were going to show it at the DeLand show, which has been postponed, so we're going to have it, and it's a Rev XS. So based on the popular...
You've got more versatility out of a few letters. Good for you.
The Rev X is basically a Rev X with added of 120 mile an hour speed rated aircraft tires, steering stabilizer, windshield, and a 10.9 meter double surface wing. And for the viewers at home that aren't up on the wing sizes, that is a teeny tiny,
that's a very small
high performance wing. Because the Rev X is so draggy and so light, it's still going to cruise around 55, but it will have the capability to hit 100 miles an hour in a dive. It will have the capability to exceed the limitations of a Rev X in high wind. It'll have that cross-country capability that some of our customers are still asking for, because none of our Rev X's cruise faster than the 40 mile per hour range so far. So the guys are starting to ask, hey, I want to go places, I want to do a 200 mile leg, And at 40 miles an hour, that's very optimistic. We're going to make it happen for real for these guys.
Cool, very good. We'll watch for the Rev XS. Love
Yes.
that name. Love the whole bit. You're doing great stuff. How do we find you on the web, Larry, so people can, well, get in line if they want to buy? You might as well do that soon now. But to just ask you more questions, to review what all you've got, where do we find you?
EvolutionTrikes.com.
Excellent. You can find more about Evolution Trikes, the whole line, and lots of other affordable aviation on buydanjohnson.com. Thanks for joining Larry Mednick and myself here at Midwest LSA Expo 2020. Yes, it is 2020.